Good news, the apocalypse is at hand. You'd better have given your life to and be following Jesus by the time God claims victory over Satan, as those who do will gain access to the kingdom of heaven, while those who don't will burn in hellfire for eternity. At least, according to the book of Revelation and Beatus of Liebana's commentary on the apocalypse, which was based off of it. For those of you who don't know, Beatus of Liebana was a Spanish Christian monk who was born in the year 730 and wrote the 12 books in the 770s. The commentary is 12 books, which is divided into two parts, and there are 3 editions. The illustrated part of it comes from the fact that it is filled with vibrant and intricate illustrations, which are made of minerals and plants on animal skin parchment that is called vellum. As said before, it's a commentary on the Book of Revelation and the Apocalypse. Interestingly, this topic, especially judgment, was a very commonly depicted subject in medieval art and architecture. Scholars still do not know definitively if Beatus authored and revised all 3 editions. For example, large parts of Beatus's commentary were directly copied from patristic sources. Scholars also do not agree on the purpose of this commentary. Evidence for the purpose comes in the form of 3 editions. The first was a spiritual reading for monks coupled with illustrations. The second had minor revisions, and the third was a criticism of the Antichrist and his followers, which also had artistic changes which emphasized its authority. Also, in the dedication, Beatus implies that he considers the Book of Revelation the basis for understanding the other books of the Bible. While some believe it was made with the purpose of education and contemplation, others believe that the purpose is to lead the reader through spiritual understanding. If you are keen on taking a position on these scholarly debates, you can look at this commentary itself, which may give you a revelation. In the time of Beatus of Liebana, the region he was living in Spain, had actually been conquered by the Umayyad Caliphate and was under Muslim rule. This behind me is the Great Mosque of Cordoba, which was under construction in a time and place of Beatus. Christian-Muslim relationships during that time were tense, and Muslims often imposed their religious beliefs onto them, such as prohibiting the building of new churches. Although obviously it's a lot more complicated than what I'm letting on. Because the Antichrist is supposed to come before the apocalypse, it is likely that Beatus could have interpreted the Antichrist followers as Muslims. This right here is a depiction of people worshipping a beast. Revelation chapter 19 verses 11 through 13, which Beatus references in the commentary, mentions that the word of God judges and makes war in righteousness. Since in Revelation God does win at the end, this may have given Christians of the time period comfort in that while they are losing and being oppressed on earth, they will get to go to heaven, and God will have revenge for them by burning his enemies in hellfire for eternity. Clearly, the commentary is a testament to the religious beliefs of Christians during that uncertain period, and how they coped with and made sense of their time. The books also contain mathematics. Beatus used math to guess that the apocalypse would occur in the year 801. This might seem optimistic in hindsight, but in the book of Revelation chapter 22 verse 20, Jesus said, "Yes, I am coming soon." Also, these books include the Antichrist tables, which you can see behind me, which use mathematics to attempt to calculate the names of the Antichrist. You might be thinking, who cares about the names of the Antichrist? Just worship Jesus. But in Mark chapter 13, Jesus claims that many will pretend to be him as the second coming before the actual second coming, even performing miracles, so being able to predict their names before they appear would be helpful to combat them. Clearly, Beatus took this extremely seriously, and mathematics was integral to the commentary on the apocalypse. You may have noticed the beautiful use of color in the commentary and may be wondering what it all means. Rather than creating a color scheme among similar manuscripts, the colors were instead selected based on words of revelation, ideology, and aestheticism. Revelation often uses color words, and so the manuscripts often use color to reference it. Although the illustrations are not naturalistic in any way, the colors to represent fire, water, light, dark, blood, and gold are consistent, being orange or yellow, blue, white, black and brown, and of course, gold. Symbolically, the devil is depicted as blue, black, or brown, and white always represented goodness and holiness. Here's a picture of the monstrous beasts and a figure in the top left, who I believe is the fallen angel Satan. Notice the use of black and brown, red, orange, and gold. To contrast this, here's the victorious Christ and his followers on white horses. Notice the use of white and red. And here's the Lord as the Alpha and Omega, represented with white and gold. You may have noticed the last three images I showed all feature red prominently, being the images of Satan, Christ, and the Lord respectively. So how could that be? Well, while these colors symbolize the same things, they do not always carry the same meaning. Red means blood, and the blood of Christ is the glory of his sacrifice, while the blood on Satan could represent people suffering in hell. And you might be thinking, well, if brown and black represent Satan, and white represents goodness and holiness, does that have any implications on racial dynamics of the time period? And the answer is probably. If you're further interested in this, I would recommend looking into the statue of Saint Maurice in Magdeburg, which was built later, who is an African saint and a knight, and also the patron saint of the Holy Roman Empire. The Dark Ages, which this was made during, are often assumed to be a time of cultural decline. However, the beauty and creativity that is shown in the illustrated commentary on the Apocalypse makes it clear to me that this perspective doesn't paint a complete picture.